Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be working on my July reading journal. For July, I wanted to use this coastal fairy tale theme that I got from Rudy Marudi's Patreon subscriptions. Since it's summer here, I thought this theme would fit perfectly. It has the mermaids and it has the coastal vibes that I thought would work really well for the summer. To start off, I'm going to put down this map washi tape from Journal Say. I bought this about 2 years ago and I'm still using it to this day. I really like it and it's a perfect neutral color that goes with anything. And I figured because the sticker that I want to put here towards the bottom right hand corner, it's very intricate, so I figured something very simple in the back would work best. And for the rest of the cover page, I'm going to use a couple of the stickers. I want to use this one that has a little kitty lounging on a beam. And I'm also going to use the seagull sticker. Now we're going to start working on the next page, and I'm just going to put down a couple of washi tapes here and start to layer a couple of the stickers that I got from the digital Happy Mail. And for the tombow, I'll be using this light cream color to kind of match the sand and the coastal theme. I'll add a section for the books that I read, the media, and the stats of the month. This month I read 6 books. There was a total of 693 pages. The format for this month was 83% audio and 17% book. As for media, I ended up watching 1 TV show and 3 movies. And the final touches of this page is going to be adding the July header. And I'm going over the bottom half of the letters to just give it a little extra dimension. The first book we're setting up here is Your Blood, My Bones by Kelly Andrew. This book was part of my reading TBR for summer, and it's also part of my Summer Ween challenge. If you want to know more about my summer TBR, you could go ahead and check out my previous video. I talked about the summer TBR list and also the Summer Ween challenge that I wanted to join. This book is a YA dark novel, and we follow Wyatt Westlock. Wyatt Westlock goes back to her childhood home after receiving some bad news. While she's walking through the home, she discovers her childhood best friend Peter tied up in chains and left for dead in her basement. Wyatt tries to rescue Peter, and she soon figures out that these chains are not just regular chains. They're actually being held by magic. And with that discovery, she starts to realize her childhood home wasn't as it seemed. Many things were going on in the background, and she's trying to figure out what exactly was going on. I think if you like horror or paranormal books, I think you'll enjoy this. I'm not a big fan of those topics, so I didn't really enjoy this book, and it definitely felt like a YA book. Don't get me wrong, I love a YA book, but it just felt very young adult to me, and I didn't enjoy it as much. And the next book is Carmilla by J. Sheridan Le Fanu. The book is about Laura, who lives a solitary life with her father in a castle. And one night, an unexpected guest arrives that ends up staying with them for a couple of months. And that person is Carmilla. And as their friendship begins and they spend more time together, they start to realize that Carmilla starts to act a little different, especially during the nighttime. Now, if you haven't heard about Carmilla, this is basically the original vampire story. This predates Dracula by 26 years, I believe. I like the way that the story was told, especially towards the end, on when they're finding out what Carmilla is or what they suspect that she is. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good book. And for the actual journal spread, I ended up using some scrap pieces of paper and some stickers from Journal Say. I ended up picking this sticker with the lady on it. It definitely gives a vibe of her living in a castle, and this story took place in a castle, so I thought it would be a nice touch. And then also I like the deep colors because this is a gothic horror type of story, and I wanted to have those deep colors in this spread. The next spread is for Death at Morning House by Maureen Johnson. This book is about a teen who uncovers a mystery while working as a tour guide on an island and must solve it before history repeats itself. Now, Marlo finds herself a new summer job at Morning House, which is a mansion that was built on an island in the 1920s and then was later abandoned. This house has a lot of history and a dark one at that. While Marlo's finding her footing, her boss ends up missing. And as she's trying to figure out what happened to her boss, she ends up uncovering secrets of what actually happened in this house so long ago. So this book ends up being kind of like a mystery and a thriller. I really like the way that it was set up, where you get to see Marlo's point of view and you also get the point of view of the people that used to live in this house. There are certain scenes in the book where they describe the mansion, and the ones that stuck out to me were the windows. And I thought this stained glass window would work perfectly for this setup, so I just added that as the main focal point and some cream colored scrap pieces of paper too. The next book that I finished reading was The Night We Met by Abby Jimenez. This is the second book in the Say You'll Remember Me series. I have to admit, I actually haven't read the first book in the series. I have a really bad habit of reading Abby Jimenez's books out of order. Nonetheless, I still read this one first, and I'll go ahead and check out the first one in a later time. Now, this book follows Larissa and Chris. Larissa and Chris end up co-parenting a Yorkie that they rescued. And as they're co-parenting, they start to hang out more, they start to see each other more, and they start to realize that they are slowly becoming really good friends. And as really good friends, they start to realize that they're basically perfect for each other. However, there's one big problem. Larissa is actually dating Chris's best friend. Both of them are not willing to cross that line, and so they just continue to be friends. However, certain things start to happen and starts to put a toll on their friendship, and we get to follow their story like that. It was no surprise that I actually really liked this book. I thought both Larissa and Chris were very relatable characters. I really like Chris in this book. I thought he was a very kind person, he was very thoughtful, and he was always trying to figure out ways to make Larissa's life easier because she definitely struggled in this book a lot. And he just wanted her to be happy, so I thought that was very sweet of him to do. Next up is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. Evelyn remembers her past lives. She also remembers that in every single one, she's been murdered before her 18th birthday by Arden. Evelyn is very fond of her current life, and because of this, she's trying to figure out why this person keeps killing her. Why can't she live past her 18th birthday? And basically trying to figure out a way to break this curse. I thought this book was interesting, especially how they were able to show some of the past lives that they lived, and you get to a point where you're trying to figure out why are they in this scenario? Why does this keep happening to them? And when you find out how and why this is happening to them, I was not expecting that. In July, I wanted to watch The Odyssey. So before we went to go watch it, I decided to get a recap by watching Troy. The last time I watched Troy was probably like more than 10 years ago, so I definitely needed a recap for it. And then we ended up going to the movie theaters to watch The Odyssey. So I wanted to make a spread for both of them together. I went online and printed out some still shots from the movies, and I also found a sticker sheet that had intricate designs on it, and I cut that up and pasted them around the spread. The last setup for this month is going to be for Empire Storms by Sarah J. Maas. This book can be read in tandem with Tower and Dawn. However, I did try to do that in the beginning of the year and it did not work out. And I just couldn't wrap my head with reading a couple of chapters in one book, then jumping to another book, and then reading the other one. So I gave that up for a little bit and I tried again during the summer. So in June, I started to read Empire Storms and finished it in July. And in July, I started to read Tower of Dawn, and I'm still working on that book right now. Because this is the 5th book in a series, I don't want to really give a review about it because it could definitely give spoilers. But I will say that the first half of the book, I really wasn't enjoying it. I do like getting all the information, but it definitely felt a little bit slow, and you could definitely tell that they're setting up for something. However, towards the end of the book is when it started to get good, it started to get better and interesting, and I would definitely recommend if you're having a hard time getting through this book just to stick through it because it does get better. Now for the journal setup, I used the main cover of the book as my inspiration. I really wanted to incorporate the blues and the purples you see on the cover. I ended up grabbing some purple washi tape, some blue washi tape, and some blue cardstock with silver stars on it. And I felt like it needed a little bit of scripted paper, so I ended up using my scripted washi tape on the sides, and I put all the washi tapes around as a border, and I chose to use some of the papers on the corners to kind of anchor everything together. And now we'll go ahead and do a flip through of my July reading journal. If you stuck to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, let me know in the comments below or give me a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing and sticking around to see more journal content from me. Thank you so much for watching and see you next time. Bye!